Have you ever had someone recognize you as Dexter in public and be like totally freaked out or like got super uneasy?
No. And if there's any element of that, it's more like playful, like pretend you're choking me, something like that.
Hey, Michael.
Hi, Scott.
So great to see you. Thank you so much for taking the time to hang out with me. I am beyond excited about Dexter New Blood.
This is all about blending in.
I was a huge fan of Dexter when it was on the air, I guess almost a decade ago. And I think one of the things that really made it successful was the fact that you were able to sort of humanize this character. So I guess my first question for you is, how exactly does one make a serial killer likable? And do you feel strange about that?
If I think too hard about it, I suppose I could talk myself into feeling strange about making a serial killer likable. But I think, the fact that he has taken maybe unique responsibility for his darker impulses and targeted people who arguably within his sort of code of ethics deserve it, gives us permission to identify with him. And we also, have a sense of his backstory and the trauma that from which he emerged. So that helps us get on his side. And also the voiceover element of the show, I think, implicates us as viewers. We're sort of in his head. So with that in mind, taking issue with him is almost like taking issue with ourselves because we're sort of implicated in his subjective view of the world. So all those things, I think, help.
Very fascinating perspective. So I guess the key takeaway there is like, don't read too much into it, obviously.
Yeah.
Perfect. Love it.
That's what I should have said.
So what everyday skills do you think Dexter would absolutely kill? I mean, obviously, pun intended there.
He's highly intelligent. I think he's probably in many ways smarter than I am when it comes to sort of an aptitude for technical know-how, logistics. He probably would have been a good surgeon. They say a lot of the best surgeons are psychopaths, actually, because they.
That's terrifying.
When they're using that skill set for good. A lot of surgeons, a lot of like Navy SEALs, people who go into high pressure situations and their pulse does not go up. They just remain calm. Fighter pilots. He could be one of those things. A Navy SEAL, a fighter pilot, or a surgeon.
Does your pulse go up when you go into high pressure situations?
Probably more than his does.
All right, fair.
I try to fake it and appear to be someone whose pulse isn't going up, but it goes up.
Understandable. I mean, you kind of have to put on the show, right? Give people what they want. So is it fair to say that this is the first time that you've returned to a character after this long? And how has that experience been for you?
It was really wild to go back and act as if he'd been alive all this time and they just turned the cameras back on, in spite of the fact that a long time has passed. And what do they say? It takes 7 years for all your cells to sort of turn over. So I guess I'm materially a completely different person. But I remembered he was still in there. There were sort of idiosyncratic ways of being that were still there and available and sort of emerging in spite of any sort of, it was kind of eerie at first, but once we were off and running, it was just, I guess a time warp as much as anything. Like, did we really take as much time off as I know we did? But it was wild and totally unprecedented. I've never done anything like that.
Sort of like riding a bike, right? But like stepping into a serial killer's footsteps, really.
Yeah.
Love it. So do you think the reboot sort of benefits from having this divisive 2013 series finale?
Yeah, probably. I think the silver lining of the cloud that is the sort of dissatisfaction that a lot of people experience when the season finale happened back in 2013 is that there's an appetite to find out what happened and to
Wait,
have
what?
a
People
more
were upset about the finale?
I'm told. I've never met anyone who no, but I mean it kind of set the stage for what we're up to in a way.
Deb. The next word I want to hear you say is goodbye.
Goodbye.
I'll see you soon.
I mean, I think the fact that I think people's enthusiasm does have at least something to do with a sense of not having been satisfied the first time around and having an appetite for something else.
I love it. I mean, obviously, I was a huge fan of the original. So it sounds like this is going to be the same Dexter vibe that I personally love, but in a new setting, which I'm totally here for.
Yeah, it's it's completely retextualized in every way, visually, in terms of where he is, the people he's surrounded by. He's living under an alias. He's obviously doing something else for a living, and he's been abstaining from killing, and he's trying to live some semblance of a normal life and be a normal person and doing penance in a way for all the missteps that we saw him make back in the day.
Oh, is he there? What is the problem? Yeah, I kind of have a thing about blood.
The original music from Dexter was iconic. The opening theme and the eerie strings from the blood theme. Absolute perfection. Will those be making a comeback for the new season?
There will definitely be a musical element, but it will be different. But I think it will, at least at times, evoke some of the thematic elements that we are familiar with.
Okay, interesting. Excited to see it. All right, so my final question for you, Michael. Dexter himself was obviously pretty terrifying. Have you ever had someone recognize you as Dexter in public and be totally freaked out or got super uneasy?
Not really. I mean, I think the people who would be inclined to be freaked out probably just turn and go the other way. But
so no one just screamed, ah!
No. And if there's any element of that, it's more playful, sure. Pretend you're choking me, something like that.
I guess some people are into that.
Yeah. A surprisingly a minority, but a more sizable one than you might think.
And a very vocal one, obviously, for people who are being choked, right?
Yeah, they make the demand. Yeah.
Love it. Well, Michael, thank you so much for chatting with me. It's been an absolute pleasure. I can't wait to see this, actually.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm glad. I hope you like it.
I'm sure I will.
So, how are you feeling right now?
Well, it's been a whirlwind. I've always had my demons, and so I went away.
What's up, Jumbo? Hey, Mr. Lindsay.
But sometimes I have an urge too strong to ignore. Oh, is he there? What is the problem? Yeah, I kind of have a thing about blood. Every day I walk through this world, faking it. Knowing if someone knows who I am, that's it. is all about blending in.